On Friday, Governor Ducey said a deal had been reached with the legislature, and he says the deal meets educators' demands, including raising teacher pay by 20%.
But educators and their supporters say they have yet to see that bill, as you just heard. So where do lawmakers stand this morning? Who is putting in the work, and how close are we? Joining us now is Arizona House Speaker J.D. Mesnard. And one thing that you do want folks at home to know is that you have not been recessed, meaning out of the office playing golf. You are in the offices trying to work out a deal on the budget.
Absolutely. We have been since Thursday. Okay. So when we adjourned on Thursday, it was just our floor session for that day, which go Monday through Thursday. We're still in session, and we were working Friday and Saturday and Sunday, and really reached a deal on the final pieces of the budget last night, looking to introduce it later today.
And you were telling us in the commercial that you have plenty of votes. Outline what this is and when it could happen.
So later this morning or early afternoon, you'll see the actual numbers for all the different pieces, because this is not just about teacher pay, it's also about the entire budget. And then hopefully this evening sometime, with all of the drafting that's been happening, you're going to see a series of the budget bills that are introduced that goes into even more detail. So that's what we'll be doing throughout the day today, and people will begin to see that this is a real package and a real budget.
So you are guaranteeing that 20% teacher increase?
Correct, yes, we do.
But also the funding that they want to see for the classroom. Where does that money come from? And how we hear a lot about questioning, is this a sustainable source of revenue, or will our classrooms be stripped of funding in a couple of years if the economy doesn't go in the direction that's anticipated?
And that's an important question, because the last time we reached this level of spending that we're proposing on education, it was in 2008, and then the next year things really tanked, and then some of that money went away. So we want to make sure that it is real. And the governor's plan had relied a lot on economic development that some people were skeptical about. I think you do want to be conservative when it comes to that. What you'll see today relies more so on freeing up other funds within the general fund and directing that towards teacher pay. There is an acknowledgement that the economy is doing really well, but it's a much smaller piece of this revenue pie that you'll see. So I think when people look at it, they're going to be confident that this is real.
So it's real dollars right now.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so what if the teachers, when you guys approve this, say, well, it's still not good enough?
I suspect there will be some that will say that. I think the vast majority are going to look at a 20% real teacher pay raise, as well as hundreds of millions of other dollars to other areas, supplies, other staff, and see that this is a good thing. You're always going to have the naysayers. You're always going to have folks who say, well, we want more. But this is going to put us really within striking distance of that 2008 number, but on a much more fiscally sound position long term.
Are there other industries, areas that rely on state funding that need to be concerned that their dollars are going to be stripped to
No, so that was another
reallocated?
misunderstanding, was that we were going to be cutting, critical areas. Actually, we still invest in foster care and adoption and the arts and healthcare areas, and that'll all be very clear when it comes out later today. So no, we haven't sacrificed other critical areas. We've made this work as well as protecting those vital areas.
So a lot of that interview down at the state capitol that we all just saw was talking about this meeting that hasn't taken place between the leaders and Governor Ducey, or any of you, I guess. What's your reaction to all of that, this meeting that hasn't happened?
So I know a number of my colleagues have been meeting with teachers in our districts. I know that the governor has met with teachers and school administrators as well. The fact that he won't meet with folks that he believes, and I think many of us believe, to be a little more political than they may admit, especially Joe Thomas, but even Noah has a bit of a political background. I don't blame him for that, because politics always creeps in, and then it becomes more of that game. So I think talking to teachers and school administrators directly is more important than some particular individual that's perceived to be at the top.
But if these folks out here are kind of calling the shots in terms of how long the teachers are going to stay out of the classroom, as uncomfortable as it may be, aren't those conversations worthwhile? Well,
except that what you're seeing is that they're taking votes among teachers. So the important thing is, where do the teachers stand? And obviously you're going to get a lot of different answers. I think when we put this out there today and people see the numbers, I'm hoping it means they're going to get back into the classroom. Obviously we know this is having an impact on students and our families, but we want to get teachers additional pay, and this is going to do that.
So give us an outline of this week as far as the budget. The education part of it, I heard you say, is the largest part of the budget, but you're not just working on the education part, the entire budget. How soon could this happen?
So the education piece is about half of the budget, and then the other half is all the other areas. The Constitution requires us to spread out what we do over 3 days for minimum for transparency. So you're really looking at Wednesday or Thursday for a floor vote. But that means we can still be doing things between now and then. We have committees and other political process steps in making things become law. And so all of that will be an opportunity for the public to weigh in, for the teachers to weigh in, and educators. So it's going to begin today, and we'll push it out as quickly as we can this week.
So if the teachers choose to stay out until this is voted on in the legislature, we could look at several more days of a walkout.
That would be very unfortunate if that's the decision. I'm hoping that, again, now that the details are going to be out there, and that's been the complaint, where the details, we have a tweet. Well, this will be much more than a tweet. I'm hoping this encourages folks to get back into the classroom.
Details later this afternoon, you think?
Yep.
Okay. Speaker Mesnard, thank you for
Thank you
clearing
so
up
much
some
for your
things.
time.
Thanks for having
Appreciate
me.
it.
Absolutely.